Most people in this room would probably agree that the media has been pretty liberal for quite some time, but something seemed to have changed in the past 10 years or so, 10 to 20 years, that really warped the news into just pure left-wing propaganda. And I think to understand how the media got this way, its massive shift to the left, and how it got filled with people like that Bud Light marketing VP, we have to go all the way back to the mid-1800s. Stay with me. In the early days of the American Republic, the media industry was not objective or non-biased. That was never the goal. In fact, in the early days of the American Republic, the media existed to be an extension of political parties. It was necessarily biased. That was actually its function. Of course, the media was also filled with working class individuals. It was very much a trade job as opposed to a profession in the way that we view it today. It wasn't until the early 1900s that this idea that journalists should be objective and unbiased came into play. And this was something that was born from the intellectual thinkers of the time. And I think, their idea was sound. It was a good idea, but the way it was put into practice actually ended up having the opposite effect of what they intended. These intellectuals posited that reporters needed to adhere to a similar version of the scientific method in order to report the news accurately. But to prove that reporters were capable of doing that, they decided that they needed to go to college to get a degree, or they needed to go to a dedicated journalism school. As these major news outlets increasingly hired reporters out of these top-tier elite universities, their newsrooms became echo chambers filled with the liberal elite who were stunningly out of touch with the average American.